Yes, if you were to try to pin me down to particular institutions, I would say the global institutions are a lot more accommodating.
They're more flexible.
Yes, compared to some of, and I would say a few of the local institutions.
And how about attitudes changing? Because I guess 2 years ago, the reaction of a bank, if someone was in trouble with personal debt, would simply be, well, you have to pay us back. We're not negotiating. I guess it's been a learning process for the banks as well. They have to recognise that, well, okay, there are these delinquent loans, there are a lot of people in trouble. Just saying, you've got to pay us or we're going to throw you in jail, isn't going to work. It's not a way to build a long-term business. People haven't got the money. Are they learning that actually this kind of restructuring is part and parcel of the banking industry, and they have to come to the party?
Well, what I will say is that there are quite a few of the banks that have set up restructuring departments in-house. So they actually have departments within their, you could say, their bases or branches where they will restructure. Again, this was never available 4 or 5 years ago. I think the idea of people getting into financial difficulty wasn't that there was no foresight there. They didn't think that there would ever be a problem. They were just literally giving the facilities away freely, thinking that people will be able to maintain payments. And I think with the global downturn, that's when they realised that, okay, there may be some challenges ahead. We may need to be a bit more flexible.
This issue of criminalising people in debt, sometimes even relatively small amounts of consumer debt, we're not talking about large-scale corporate fraud here. How big of a barrier is that to resolving debt issues amicably?
Amicably for who? It works fantastic for the banks, because they've obviously got, you could say, the law on their side. And just by bouncing a cheque, that's the criminal offence. And once a cheque or security cheque is submitted and it bounces, then instantly a police case could be filed. So you are working, or they are working on the intimidation and threats to enforce their agreement. Now, long term, as you mentioned earlier, it will be, I think, a lot more effective if the institutions did work a lot more closely with customers and working around their difficulties.
Because it doesn't matter what business you're in, whether you're selling Mars bars or adverts, locking up your customers is not a viable long-term strategy for growth, is it?
But it's been successful, hasn't it, for a very long time for the banks. And I would imagine that it still is proving to be somewhat successful, but just you could say the losses are a lot greater now. Because if you're locked up, then you're going to have friends and family run to your rescue. They will look at ways of trying to raise the funds to get you released. But nowadays, everyone is in the same situation.
It's too big a problem now.
Yes.
It's just 1 or 2 people, it's fine, it works. When the scale becomes much larger, it ceases to work.
I was at a police station yesterday, and I was literally there for half an hour. And in the space of half an hour, there was 3 vans that pulled up. And in each van, there's between 8 to 12 people. And they're just being offloaded. And the majority of the people at the police station were, I would imagine, simply to do with bounce checks.
Picked up at the airport or something? Or
picked up at the airport, visited at work, literally warrants out for their arrest. They could have had an accident, a car accident. There's a warrant out for their arrest because of the police case. And they're picked up.
So the point is, we want to avoid that. As customers,
Absolutely.
as individuals, we want to avoid that. So things we can do, we've got about 30 seconds left. What are the 2 or 3 things people should do if they're driving home now, or they're listening on the radio thinking, okay, I'm in debt, what can I do? What should I do? Hit the panic button.
Okay, I would look over your finances, I would look at your income, I would look at the expenditure, I would know where my money's going, I would list all my liabilities down, I would see how much is being paid to those liabilities. If I can't manage those liabilities, then I would would contact the banks to see if you could restructure. I would look at the resources available to see if you can refinance, to clear everything off, to consolidate. You can always consolidate with your bank if you have credit cards and loans. If you feel that the problem is too big for you, then seek professional advice, professional assistance.
Listen, Ridwan, it's been great talking to you. Really, really do appreciate your help. Ridwan Ettoubi is a senior debt consultant at ISDM here in Dubai. Really, thank you very much indeed.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.